All right. So out of curiosity, my my global friends, one of the things I think is interesting about this particular group is, I'm in Akron, Ohio. Mel, where are you today and where do you actually live?
Well, actually live in Melbourne, Australia. Yeah, today just arrived Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. So
All right.
this is originally where I'm from. I'm visiting parents and my dad's 89th birthday. So it's
Wow.
it's gonna be fantastic. Yeah. So
Outstanding. And Carl, you heard is from Belgium. And Viji, where in India are you from?
I'm from the south of India, Chennai, beautiful Chennai.
Okay, so this truly is a global conversation. So as we get ourselves started here this morning, out of curiosity, over the last season, what have you discovered about yourself? And then how does that impact your coaching? Since Viji, you're at the top of my list, you get to go first. And then you can pick which of us goes next.
Yeah, so I was just wondering if you were coaching me and you asked me that, what would I say?
Oh, interesting.
Uh,
Interesting.
so I'm gonna behave and show up like a client for some of these questions
Okay,
because that's the frame with which uh, I'm coming in today.
excellent.
So I just say the last, and you said season, so I don't know how we sort of qualify the season. Is it ICW season? Is it a weather season? Whatever that may be. I think the last couple of months have been, I think it's been very busy, not just personally, but it just seems like whoever I meet, and I think when Carl and I met earlier this year, we also exchanged that, saying that can't believe it's May already. Time seems to have just gone way too fast. It just seems like we were welcoming the new year and, exchanging New Year greetings and things like that. So, I think this season has been one of busyness. And I'm not going to say whether in a good way or a bad way, but it's just been, time's been going too fast. So I think I'm trying to pace myself in all of this. And just 2 days ago, I came out of a session where we were really talking about leadership and, how fast leaders are having to navigate all the changes going on around them. Um, and I think that what's been happening in the world in the last couple of months has also been like that, right? I mean, even if you want to slow down, you really have to keep going so fast that you can actually hold your place on that treadmill.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the frame with which I'm coming. So I am just trying to be this person who is pacing myself. Yeah, and I'm going to invite Mel because I saw him nod.
mm, thanks, Vijay. Um, yeah, I was just to
Uh-oh.
going to am I coming in
You
okay?
you wobbled for a second, but you're back now.
I'm back. Okay. So that season of wobbling, I'm gonna jump on that one. It's like playing a game, and you're at one stage and you're trying to get to the next stage, right? And so you have to find how you're going to make it to that next level.
Mm.
And obviously, not all the route but that is the same way. And I've been feeling that weight of that needing to navigate through that different routes and realize that there is actually no one size fits all kind of thing. There's no certainty even in that if you think
Mm.
about it. So to me, that's where I'm at actually. And I think what I'm sensing is that okay? Am I sitting well with that season? And I think the answer is yes. And I think that's the greatest learning that I'm taking out from this season is how rested am I in that season of change.
Mm.
Karl?
Yeah, well, what do you say after such wisdom from you and from Vijay? Um, uh, what what I'm focusing on this season is to trust the process. There's a lot of things going on in our world, things that are not so nice. That's the least we could say at the moment. And yet, our impact on that is very limited. And um, I became aware this season, and I've learned that from my three great friends here, that trusting the process, having faith in the idea that things will be okay, has become of a tremendous power to me. And so, just to give you an example, dear friends, for this wonderful live session together with you, I'm going to tell you a secret. I have not prepared anything whatsoever. Jonathan has prepared some questions. Thank you, Jonathan. I did not prepare anything yet. I am 200% sure, confident, and in full faith that this session is going to be great because I trust the process and I trust that things will be all right. I hope that over this season, that has become a kind of second nature to me.
Mm.
I hope, but I'm not yet entirely sure about that.
Mm.
Back to you, JR.
You know, it's interesting. I just will point out the role reversal in this conversation because it is typically Karl that has prepared and has come in as ready as the day is long, and I am the one who typically re, relies on my inner jazz musician to improvise something in the course of this conversation. So that I'll just enjoy that little interesting moment that my Belgian friend has pointed out. I'm not going to lie. The way I phrased this question was intentional, and I hope as you're watching this conversation that you can apply some of these questions to your own situation, because the idea of understanding the season that we're in for me immediately fell into two pieces, and this comes out of some thinking I was doing last week about the last season in the US. I actually don't know if this is a global phenomenon, but in the US yesterday was what we call Mother's Day, where we celebrate the role that mothers play in all of our lives. And my wife and her sister uh, had all of us over to a little bit of a reception. And I thought to myself, you know, this is a good opportunity to be thankful for all the people who have made me who I am. And that's a good orientation for me to come back to on a consistent basis. And I would, over this last season, however long that is, I would certainly put the three of you in that group that have helped me become who I am. The other two things that I would just throw at you really echo what um, Mel and Vijay said. There has been a lot of chaos this last year, and I found myself. I wrote this on a post-it note a week or so ago, and I put this is actually on my desk right now. There's four words here. It says one step to mission, and that is reminding me that the mission I want to take on is pretty clear, probably the clearest it's ever been in my professional career. But I can only take one step at a time. And I'm not going to lie, I'm annoyed by that. that I can only do one thing at a time. Yeah, I appreciate you can laugh with me at that because I know VG's not laughing at me, but I am annoyed that I can only take one step at a time. Stupid humanity. And then there's a second post-it note that is right next to that one step to mission, which is a backward-looking tool. And that's kind of where I am right now. I'm looking forward and looking backward at the same time. And that the orange one says, "Did I do the best I could with what I had?" And that I
Very
think
good.
is a huge challenge for me because as as my Belgian friend brings up, I'm in a big hurry to get where we're going. And almost no one else is. There's no reason to be in that much of a hurry. So these are my two grounding moments right now. One step to mission, and did I do the best I could with what I had? I'm trying to operate that way. So that's kind of where I am right now in all this.
Before we move forward, Jonathan, I got to
Yes,
say
ma'am.
thank you for the trust that I wouldn't laugh at you. I was sort of relating to what you were saying
Yeah,
and said, yeah, yeah, I hear you.
yeah,
I
yeah.
get that. So,
You,
I mean, and that also brings me to this thing, right? I have also postscript. I don't know about the three of you and everybody else in this room, but I think I've started laughing a little bit more about at myself. Not in a judging way, but in a more well, c'est la vie kind of way.
mm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. The this is and first of all, let me just say this very clearly, VG. Never in a million years did I believe you were laughing at me. And I think that's important to have people around you where that's your default response to them. I have not always appreciated just how valuable that actually is to have people around you that will laugh with you because very often, I mean, we all know this. We've all joked about this. Very often, if if you don't laugh, you're going to cry, and that can be a really powerful way to think about some of those opportunities. So, yeah, just thanks for reminding me about how that relationship is supposed to go. All right, MCCs. Now here's my challenge to you. What themes did we hear running across the four of us? Mel, I see the wheels turning. I'm going to ask you to go first.
Um, I see two things. I see a convergence of things. By the way, can you still hear me well?
Yes, it's like you're in the
Okay.
room.
Very well.
Okay. So there's a convergence of things. No pun intended for the converge that we are going to converge in and see the rest of us, and whoever else is going, I hope to see you too. We hope to see you. Um, and I think that converging of things is very important, when we think about life itself, right? It is times when it is in the converging points that it becomes intentional, right?
Mm,
So when people meet, when things happen, and if you're on that same route to the converge point, it becomes something special.
mm,
It's like a client that I have, and she's based in Paris. Um, she left her organization, and she's actually this week for the 3 days in KL. It's funny because I'm seeing her tomorrow for the very first time, and that just blows my mind on that power of convergence. And then, of course, there's the other side where it's that diversity of where we're landing, which also means a lot to each one of us, like where we're at. And it does not have to be similar. It doesn't have to be. And even then we can celebrate, using Karl's word, we can celebrate that points of divergence.
Love it. Love it. You know, the two things run through my mind as I hear that. And then Karl or VG, interested to hear what runs through your mind in the course of all this. One is, and I wouldn't have said this until you said this just a moment ago, Mel, but as crazy as the world is, as large as the world is, it's also incredibly small. And I forget this. You know, I'm all into the AI stuff. I'm using all these tools all the time. I'm working with a whole bunch of different technologies. And as my friend David Drake would remind me all the time, he would say, you know, you still have to be human. And I think that's a really important comment. You still have to be human. And that's kind of what I'm hearing as you're saying, you know, this convergence, your Paris client is going to be is in KL and you're meeting tomorrow. All right. There's a human moment. The other thing I'll just wax about, and I will say this, you know, we coaches, I would suggest generally do well with this, but a reminder never hurts. We don't have to be in control.
Yeah.
And that is, yeah, I look like a whirlwind of traveling chaos at all times, but it's a bit of an illusion because I like pulling the strings behind the scenes and just letting that go and not controlling it. I think is pretty critical. Pretty critical for those moments of being human. So, VG, Karl,
Sure.
what's jumping out to you?
For me, well, it's not really a thread that I am picking up today. And you know, you might say that, yeah, after all these years, that's the least you should expect of us. But that's not really true, you know, that just because a relationship or a community grows um, or matures, certain things will only grow deeper and deeper with time, not necessarily. And we see that with our clients' lives, with people navigating different difficult relationships and the world at large. So the thing I want to say today is I sensed a lot of empathy in the room. Not just the four of us, but you know, everyone else who I can see on the Zoom and also probably joining us on LinkedIn Live. That and don't ask me for evidence of that. I don't know. I can't give you evidence, but I just feel very heard and seen and supported. And you know, while I think in addition to the convergence, I also felt the divergence between what we shared. I felt a strong current of empathy, and I'm very glad that that is able to surface after what, 5 years of traveling together on the path to mastery. And I want to just notice and also celebrate that, and also ask you all that, do you feel the same way?
Karl, you get to go first.
I'm I'm here in a place where I try to connect some dots of everything that I've heard so far. Um, uh, yes, I do feel that whenever that I'm in a group of colleague coaches, um, I feel that the mastery of empathy, because I think it's an art, the art of empathy. So mastering empathy is an energy that is flowing all the time amongst coaches. Also in this meeting, it touches me that wherever you find coaches together, coaches that are willing to share, coaches that are willing to be vulnerable, that are willing to be authentic, when they come together, I am sensing a lot of empathy in those places. Now, what this thought also brings to me is the idea of and the desire of wanting to have impact. I think that one of the ambitions or desires that the four of us share is the ambition, the desire to have a very, very positive, healthy impact on not only coaches and coaches worldwide, but the entire world. And this is where I've gone through a transformation in the last couple of years, thanks to the wonderful interactions with my friends here. Having global sustainable impact as coaches is not necessarily a matter of producing a new coaching program for coaches level 2 or level 3 or CCE or whatever. It's not about trying to have an audience of hundreds of coaches, and use that as an objective. No, it is step by step, one step at the time. And it is not because sometimes the steps are small that they are not steps. Tell you a personal experience with that. We are here together with 13 participants, and four of us is us, so we are here together, 9 participants. Well, there used to be times, dear friends, where I would be rather dissatisfied with such a low outcome. We do so much effort, promotion, marketing, flyers, LinkedIn, and guess what? Not even 10 persons. Thanks to the three friends here, I've gone through a transformation. You have no idea how deeply grateful that I am that we are here together with an audience of 9 people. And whatever we say here, we will have a little bit of impact. And that is what I'm in for.
Well, don't overlook the 19 people that are watching on LinkedIn right now.
I know, I was about to say that.
So,
And the recording that will go around. So
right.
that's also a thing I see nowadays, right? Most people, again, maybe the busyness that everyone's grappling with, people just want to catch up with recordings on their walks or
Yeah.
whatever other times they want to unwind. So, but Carl, I want to just before Jonathan moves to his next question that I'm sure he's ready to go with, I just want to. I mean, I can say that I still remember one ICW where we had almost, I would say, a high double-digit number, not registrations, people who joined
hmm
us. My friend Carl here was actually very, well, dissatisfied, right? And it was so funny because I was delighted. And so, there was this beautiful continuum between delight and dissatisfaction in our sort of room when we caught up, right? We have a little WhatsApp group where we keep exchanging notes. And Carl, to hear you say this today, I can't tell you, that's music to my ears. And equally so, somewhere you don't realize it in setting high standards. That's the other part of impact, right? You are unconsciously sort of elevating somebody to aim for bigger, higher, greater, which is equally important. So I want to acknowledge you, Carl, for whatever you've said today. And, I
Yeah.
mean, it takes a lot
Absolutely.
to be able to say that.
Absolutely.
hmm We have just witnessed what I've learned from Carl is a very rare moment. This is a Belgian acknowledging personal growth. So if nothing else, your International Coaching Week is off to a somewhat miraculous start. So well done. Well done. It does. I will also tell you that, Carl, it also tees up exactly where I was hoping we would go next. And that is, this is one of those coaching questions that all of us have probably asked at some point or other, Our training program probably taught us this question. And I have a love-hate relationship with this question. So I'll throw out to you that we've acknowledged what has happened over the last season. Let's look to the future. Who are you becoming as a result of all of this? You know, Mel, I see you smiling. Yeah, I think you and I have talked about this particular question in the past. Um, it's easy to blow past just how powerful it actually is if we don't take
Yeah.
it seriously. So I don't know. Who wants to pick that up? Who are you becoming?
Mm. Wow.
All right, Mel, you blink. Go ahead.
Um, Same. I like it and I don't like it. The question, especially when it's the person in the mirror that has to answer. Right? It's like one of those games that you play. You're like, oh my gosh, why did that question have to land on me? Um, the easiest answer is who that I am meant to be. That's the easiest answer. But even by saying that, it's a very tough answer to say. And there's so many layerings of that I want to, on one side, aspire to, but then on the other side, wanting to avoid the trap of pushing myself over the years that I've pushed myself as a corporate guy myself before a coach. I often realize that this whole drive to the next level, to the next becoming, is somewhat pressurizing. But if we take it as it's an invitation, so I think that's the power of it. If we take it as an invitation towards this state, I think it's going to change the perspective of how we can appreciate this question better.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely appreciate that. Definitely appreciate that.
I can go next. So I started off by talking about pacing, right? And a couple of years ago, when I was a speaker at the coaching.com summit, the theme I had picked up was coach sustainability. Yeah, a concept not very much explored. I had my own approach. I had some thoughts to share on it, etc. But you know what? Um, while it was something that was not new to me and I had been working on it for some time, it was still a little academic in my head. Yeah, it was evolving. I was figuring it out. I was like the live subject in that research and all that. But today, I actually find that more relevant, more real, and I might even want to do another part two of that, is what I'm thinking. And let me say why. So in all of this pacing, I'm realizing that I am becoming a sustainable coach. And just so that we are on the same page, everyone here, everyone on the live, that not sustainability from, a frame of reference of ecology and that frame, but just sustainable, being a sustainable professional. What's it going to take for me to play the long game? And to realize that if you really look at it as the long game, these periods of busyness that either you chose or the world sort of, lends you in, is all part of that long, the the long innings.
Mm.
So I can slowly but steadily see my, sustainability muscles develop. And in all of that, do it with, I think, a very different mindset, like Carl spoke about, not really bothered about the metrics that one would usually chase, or sort of, being unempathetic or unkind to even my own self.
Mm.
So I'm trying to, and like you said, Jonathan, right? The human element, saying that, yeah, I mean, I can just take that one thing at a time. So my becoming is towards that concept I toyed with a couple of years ago, and today it just seems to be so important for me because that's the only way I will align with my overall mission of being a coach. Sorry, did I
No,
just throw in too many concepts?
I love it. I love it. The I want to come back to after we hear from Karl and well, I've got something you triggered something in me as well. I want to come back to what is your overall mission as a coach and how did you arrive at that? Because I think that's a question that a lot of coaches really wrestle with. Maybe we can spend a couple of minutes on that here in a second. The thing that both Mel and VG's comments triggered for me. So, Karl, I guess I'm going next. Is that one of the concerns I have had about coaching in general and my own coaching in particular over the last season is, with AI tools being out there and lots of discussion about what coaches do and what all of this, I worry, and I legit worry about this particular topic, that we are losing some of our ability to hear what the client actually wants from the coaching engagement. And I want to be a person and a coach who is becoming even more focused on how am I helping the client get somewhere they couldn't get by themselves or they wouldn't get by themselves. Because that skill that the best coaches have of really drawing out what's going on for the client and what the client is looking to make happen. I legit worry that we're taking our eyes off that. As technology builds, as busyness swirls, as it gets easier to not just be a person engaged in the conversation, as the years get faster, I just would put that challenge in front of us. How do we stay focused on helping the client get where they really want to go because of coaching? So, Karl, any thoughts?
Yes, many. Um, uh, well, it may come as a surprise, but exploring the question, who am I becoming, for me, has not necessarily a lot to do with coaching or with the client. I know that Jonathan and I here are living in other universes, but I do not think that the first ambition or objective of coaching should be helping the client. I think that the first objective or ambition should be creating a context, creating energy, establishing presence, creating an environment in which client helps themselves. And if, unfortunately, client is not succeeding in helping themselves, yeah, well, I'm not so sure that I am then the cause of that. Um, this being said, um, what I a question that comes together with the one, who am I becoming, is another one that is, what wants to happen? What wants to happen? If I look at the people around me, I look at my family, I look at the world, well, not very happy by looking at the world these days, but what wants to happen and what is my calling in what wants to happen? Those are two key questions that contribute to that one other question, who am I becoming? And um, for as far as I have a mission as a human being, my mission is not to, let's say, I do not feel called to continuously improve the world. I do not feel called to continuously improve my clients, but I am called in continuous curiosity, continuous authentic curiosity. And I believe that while through being curious and through being navigating the client's world, it is more the client that is going to fulfill my life mission, then I would be doing that myself. So, in order to summarize all this, who am I becoming? That is a question that is answered for me by my clients. Thank you.
All right, Mel, VG, let's take a few minutes and point out all the ways that Karl is wrong. No, actually, I don't disagree with a single thing Karl said. And I would just, I guess I would reframe this ever so slightly in that it's the unique combination of coach and client that helps the client get. It's not me or VG or Mel, as good as we are, if you don't mind me saying. It's the unique combination of what happens between coach and client. And that's where I think we really get, that's where I really think we get to the magic that coaching offers, is when we're able to frame out, hey, there's something unique that only happens in this engagement. That's powerful. It just is. Just is.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Mm.
You know, I can't help. Sorry, Jonathan.
No, don't be
You were
sorry.
counting on me, but I but I can't help, connecting with what Karl said. As much as as I'm growing as a coach, I realized this one truth. And I've said this publicly in a different way, saying that, this must be the coolest profession in the world because you get paid to learn for free.
Mm.
Yeah. And I mean it. The kind of learning that I've got in my years of serving full time as a coach, I don't think I've got anywhere else, and
That's
I'm
true.
pretty well educated in that sense. So just to go back to Karl, what he said a couple of years ago, I think it was slightly after the pandemic. I had clients who told me something, typically at the end of the engagement when you're asking for, overall feedback about yourself, the experience and all that. I had more than one client who told me something that was quite opposite to what or I never in all my years never ever believed I had that personality or that aspect to me. And slowly but steadily I started owning that. So does it mean that I was becoming somebody inauthentic or who I was not? I don't think so. But I think my clients enabled me to be in touch of that part of me that probably was dormant, like we do with our clients, right? I mean, at the end of the day, as coaches, we are putting clients deeply in touch with parts of themselves they may have forgotten or may have, just taken for granted. And this is symbiotic. So as you do more hours, more experience, I mean, sometimes I say the meaning behind all these words, MCC and all that, right? Is that how much are you truly becoming? And how much are you growing through all that experience? So, Carl, I don't know whether this is what you meant, but I can, my heart connected. And I remembered that learning, which I had, written in somewhere in my reflective practice notes, saying that, who am I becoming? Why are all these people telling me things that sound like somebody else? Yeah. And I'm not going to tell you what that is because maybe that's a story for a different day, but you'll probably laugh as well. Or maybe you'll see that in me because you also know me very differently. So coaches help clients become, clients also help coaches become.
That's one of the things that I think is unspoken about coaching. This to me, I think this is really important that we say this explicitly again. The thing we're taught from the very first day of coaching school is it's not about you. It's not about the coach. It's never about the coach. It's never about the coach. Well, while I believe that's true, I'm going to also say that you cannot deny that coaches take incredible value away from coaching conversations. It's not the point. It's not why we do this, but it's a beautiful outcome that is attached to coaching. Yeah, I see those thumbs up, BG. Yeah, well.
No, I was just thinking, is there a different word like occupational hazard, right? When you talk about occupational hazard, it's the flip side of that occupation. So this is like the happy side. So if you have a term for that, let me know. I'll use it next time. But I was just thinking, the happy consequences. That was never the point. But if you can't, like Carl says, right? If you can't notice the point, then you're missing something.
It reminds me, Vijay, of the sun, right? And if we imagine that we are the sun, then we're going to be the one that is shining on people. But if we believe that the coachee is the one that is showing his rays, her rays out, there is an effect of how the rays are going to hit us too. If you're closer to the sun, right, it's going to impact us in different ways that we never thought possible. So yeah, 100%, Vijay, right? That relationship really impacts and allows us to, reflect on who we are and who we are becoming.
So important to take those moments to give ourselves permission to actually do this kind of reflection. So important to step back. I think that's another. Well, that's one of my hopes for International Coaching Week. Actually, is that these coaches who are busy in the middle of all this can step back and say, you know what? I'm going to celebrate. Maybe this is a challenge we can take on together. You know what? I'm going to step back and I'm going to celebrate all the incredible things that have happened because I chose to make this my life's work. I think about most of you have heard the reality that I got exposed to coaching when I was on a team that I could best describe as horribly dysfunctional. And they brought in a guy to coach this team, and 45 minutes into the first session on the first morning of a 3-day offsite meeting, he had us actually talking to each other. And I went up to him and I said, at the break, 45 minutes later, an hour and a half into this 3 day offsite, I was like, what are you doing here? What is this? And he told me he was a coach and that he was working with folks that to improve communication and leadership and vision and all these things. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how do I learn to do this? How do I learn to do this? And he thought about it for a second and he goes, well, I could teach you. And at that, or I could help you. And man, I had a choice to make at that moment. And I am so grateful I said yes. Fled directly to this place. Talking with my friend from India, my friend from Australia, my friend from Belgium, and our 30 or so friends from around the world on the various platforms celebrating International Coaching Week. So maybe that's a good next note to go to is what can you say yes to that will help you become even more.
Can I expand on that a little bit
I
and say
wish you
not
would.
just what you can say yes to, but what you can say yes to or celebrate more of to become?
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Karl, I see the wheels turning for you. What's running through your mind?
There is a very interesting word there put by Lorna Jeremiah, I think. I call it serendipity. Well, thank you for that word. There are two, well, let's say concepts. I think that's the word, with which I've learned to live in the last, well, basically the last decade. It's a combination of serendipity and synchronicity. Now, I do not know the scientific basis for all these things, and I know that Carl Gustav Jung has written books about synchronicity, and Joseph Jaworski, and so on. But I've learned that having faith in serendipity, finding things you were not looking for, and enjoying moments where apparently coincidences are taking place
Mm.
that would never have taken place if you try to plan them. And Jonathan can fully join me in that concept. Um, those two together actually empower my what I call sense for intuitive living. And I think that in the last decade, I transformed from someone who planned everything, even a lot more than I still do, believe it, Jonathan, into someone who lives a lot more based on intuition. And that intuition comes from serendipity, synchronicity, and trying to co-create with what is happening in the moment. So I had to share that. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Hmm.
Check out the words Jonathan is writing. Coming up with new words there. So cool.
I'm not sure how to say the second one, but synchronipity might be a thing. I said I sense I'm sure someone in this LinkedIn Live is running over to GoDaddy right now to buy the domain name synchronipity.com. So the musings of Karl Van Hoey.
That's right.
I see a new business
Voilà.
opportunity.
Et voilà. Mhm.
Yeah. In our last few minutes, how about just a moment of reflection, maybe what has emerged for you in this conversation, what's clicked, what you're hoping for from International Coaching Week. A final word from each of us in our last 5 minutes here.
Well, since I have to leave sharp at the hour, very briefly, dear friends, dear participants, not only am I very grateful for the honor of having met you here, well, in the chat box or seeing your names. But what I've also sensed, even though that the majority of you I'm not really seeing, but I'm feeling a connection, a field of connection uh, that has given me the safety to share a few things that were now and then quite personal. And it touches again on what I said in the beginning. Whenever you find a group of coaches together, coaches of a certain nature of authenticity and vulnerability, because we're not all that way, believe me, but sometimes you really meet coaches of that kind, then all the rest flows automatically, flows spontaneously, even without preparation. So, thank you.
Mhm. Mhm.
Thanks, Karl. I'll go next. You said connection. I'm going to use courage. Yeah, it takes that step, Jonathan. Thank you. It takes that step to feel a little bit out of place sometimes. And I think this needing to put ourselves in situations like that, or sometimes the world, you can say, brings us into situations like that, is so purposeful and so needed. And it beckons what our response is, right? It's how are we going to take that courageous step forward? And I think that will be my wish, right? I could have said no to coming to Paris, but I I wanted so badly for the gang to be together. And so I had to put myself out of whack myself. I'll speak for myself, right? To get there. And I almost said, thanks to who about the hike of prices. That I say, oh, let's just blame this guy because now I've changed my mind. But I think this courageous step that we took together has met with that courageous intention to come together. So that's where I'm landing at. Thank you.
Definitely.
Oh,
Definitely.
I just love what you said, Mel. I love to do a +1, but want to build on that. Along with courage comes being ready to fail, right? Not just to fail, but at least to fall. And I think we had several falls. I'm not here making Paris sound like an end in itself. No, sorry, it's the start of many things. But Mel, if you remember, it was just a fancy thought we had saying, hey, should we do this?
Yeah.
Paris is here, and none of us were probably, for Carl, it's a stone's throw away, but it was a big deal, and I think we all had different plans for the summer. So it wasn't as smooth as we thought, right? I mean, we argued, we debated on that little one pager that went in, we took many stabs at it, and only to realize it's all good. And not just that, but I think also with our all individual experiences to sort of make it. I mean, even now I'm a little unsure, and I hope that I will be able to make it with all the flight situation and all that. But I think it's about taking that risk. So, and I connect it back to the larger theme, saying, what Jonathan started with, right? So there will be things that will make us uncomfortable, make us irritated, make us frustrated even. And we can keep blaming the environment. But I think that is part of the journey to that becoming and to the end outcome that we want. So I think we should invite, and at least for me, I can invite and embrace these, I would say, not so perfect experiences. Be ready to fall a little bit. Let me take back my word, not fail, fall, right? A fall is never failure. It's an opportunity to pick up and get up. So that's where I am. I mean, I love what both of you said, and if I can just add on, throwing myself open to these. Jonathan, last word. You literally have 1 minute.
I will invite all of us over International Coaching Week and into the experience at Converge in Paris next week. I will invite all of us to step back and take a look at how we see ourselves and invite some input from the people around you. I am convinced that one of the things coaching does better than anything else is to help clients and coaches build deep self-regard, deep and accurate self-regard. And the clearer that picture is for each of us, the more good things come from that. I think that's one of the lessons we learn from emotional intelligence. As we understand ourselves, we're able to help others understand themselves. And that would be my invite to all of us for International Coaching Week. Understand yourselves so that others can understand themselves. On that note,
Well,
welcome to International Coaching Week.
woohoo!
And see you in Paris. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, happy ICW, everyone. Bye-bye.
Take care, everyone. Thanks for coming.